agreement. Now, why I'm sharing that is to say, warning dreams from the Lord can sometimes come with the feeling of fear based on how we interpret the dream. Because God can give you a warning dream about something that is about to come. And anytime you have a warning dream, you need to respond in prayer. It's not just something you wake up and you're like, oh no, that would never happen. No, God is literally giving you an insight on the plans of the enemy so that you, from a place of revelation, know how to pray. Right? In the book, I talked about something very similar when the Lord shows me a calendar and there was a date on the calendar and then the date is circled in red. And literally the dream, you could feel like something is wrong. Like I knew this was not a good thing. And in the dream, he tells me, pray for your brother. So when I wake up, and I'm like, wait, what is going on? And the Lord is like, pray for your brother concerning this date. Now, the fear wants to invite itself into that moment. Like, God, what could happen to my brother? This, and that. But if I start to meditate on that, I come in agreement with it and it will cripple me. Like, God, okay, what is going to happen to my brother? Now I'm going to be overwhelmed. But in that moment, you reject it and say, wait, no, God, if you're showing me this, there is an authority and a power that I can tap into for your will to be established in this scenario. And so then what happened? I called my brother. I said, hey, we need to be in prayer. And I don't know what is going to happen on this day, but God has shown me this date and we need to pray. So I took time leading up to that day to pray, come before the Lord in fasting and prayer. When that date came, literally my brother was being followed because there were people that wanted to rob him. And in the state where he was in, I mean, people could kill you just to take your candy, right? It's a beautiful place, but some people are not in their right minds in that area, right? But then the Lord intervened and he was perfectly safe. So when he calls me and I'm like, oh my, like, what is today's date? It was that very day. So the Lord was giving us an insight ahead of time that, hey, on this day, there are people who Satan has influenced through their brokenness. And his target is your brother. But if you will position yourself in prayer now, because prayer is the one thing that can go into your future. What you're praying about today can shape and navigate what happens months from now. And so because we had presented it before God in prayer, when that day did come, he had already intervened into the matter, right? And so what I want to encourage you, that there are times that for everyone in the room, you have to also vet the fear. When you feel afraid after you have a dream, be mindful, where is this fear coming from? Is it coming from because I'm afraid of the unknown? I'm afraid of the uncertainty of this blessing. I'm afraid that something could be taken away from me, because that is a sign of coming into agreement with the spirit of fear. That is why God would even make it clear to say, I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. But see what he says, I have not given this to you, so it comes to you. But it's not the Lord that sent it. And how do we reject it? We need to have a sound mind. We need to see God through his love. We need to know our power and authority in God, that there are certain messages that we can be mindful of, but that message is not to cause us to receive the spirit of fear, but to walk in authority, to walk in love, and to walk with the soundness of mind. Soundness of mind is I'm not divided about how I see Jesus in my life. Right? I know that God is with me. I know that he covers me. I know that he protects me. I know that he's holding my life. I'm not divided on that. And so there's a soundness of mind that I have, not because of what I see, but what I know. Right? Anyone else?
Hi, Stephanie.
You're welcome, love.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Maureen.
Maureen?
Yes.
Where are you from?
Kenya.
Kenya, that's beautiful. Yes. That name is pretty, Maureen.
Okay, so I've been having a lot of dreams, and one that really freaked me out is I was dreaming about constantly seeing twins in my dreams, and I remember when I saw the twins, they did not belong to me, but somebody else. But then the fourth dream was when I was pregnant with 7 kids, and I freaked out. And and then I saw 14 tiny feet on my stomach, and I was wondering, oh my God, what am I gonna do with them? And I know, because children are supposed to be blessing from God. But then I reacted with fear. And you were talking about fear. So which type of fear is this?
This is funny. Because what she's telling us is, I'm supposed to freak out. Oh, this is so good. Here's the thing, right? I think any woman will freak out. If I see 7, wow. But here's the beauty of God, right? Because even the number of kids could be a symbol. Because, throughout the Bible, the Lord also speaks through numbers, right? We don't worship numbers, but we can see God has a pattern through speaking and revealing things through numbers. So when you're seeing yourself, do you desire children?
Yes.
Beautiful. Yes. And you want twins?
Yes.
So here's the thing. You're seeing. Have you seen people in your people around you having twins or anything like that? Or there are people and you're like, oh God, it's happening for them, but it's not happening for me. Have you had moments like that?
Not really.
But
no.
Do you are there people that have you ever dealt with jealousy of any kind?
Not in the form of other people having children. Mm-hmm. No.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand where the Lord is showing. Because the thing is that when you're seeing other people having twins in the dream, but they belong to other people, and you desire twins, has that been a prayer point for you where you're like, God, give me twins? Or
that's been a wish so that I can just give birth at once
and
finish.
I love your honesty. But here's where I'm landing at, right? So when you're seeing yourself pregnant with 7 is also a number that represents perfection, right? So it could be that the Lord is showing you that, hey, concerning your pregnancy, I have perfected everything concerning what will take place with you having children. It may or it may not play out how you want it, right? But that could be a sign where the Lord is saying, I have perfected this, so trust me. Now, on the other hand, I'm joking. But here's the thing. Imagine, right? Because God speaks in very interesting ways. But one of the things to always recognize with the voice of God is He knows you deeper, better, and has an extensive knowledge of who you are beyond what you will ever know about yourself or your strength. Mm-hmm. He knows what you can handle. He knows what is connected to your life. He knows what you're called to birth that would bring you into the fullness of who He formed you to be. Mm-hmm. And why I'm saying that is that we should always approach the voice of God with safety. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have moments where God is going to say, hey, I want you to do this, and you start freaking out. I remember when I got married, the Lord had always shown me, the Lord had told me how old I would be when I had my first child. Things will happen very quickly. And initially I was like, wow, Lord, in my head, I'm like, okay, but if I get married, shouldn't I just, for 1 year, we should just travel the world, you have these things that you desire. And the Lord is like, no, you're going to have this child very quickly. This child is coming very soon. But you have to trust and lean into the voice of God, because you see, we often try to plan our lives like we gave ourselves life. We plan things. We're like, okay, I'm married now, and then and it's beautiful. There's wisdom in it. Plan things out, but every plan should always be submitted to the leading of the Holy Spirit. Yeah. And so there are times that we have these things that we're saying for ourselves, and God is like, if you would do it my way, it would be better. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, we submitted to that. Boom. Few months in, I got married in September. In December, I was pregnant. But here's the beauty. we traveled everywhere with our daughter. So God still fulfilled this desire that we were like, oh, we want to travel. We want her to experience things, X, Y, and Z. For her birthday, we took her to Italy. It was beautiful. And why I'm sharing this is that approach the voice of God from safety. That, Lord, I'm not trying to have 7, but even if you want to give me 7, there is a provision connected to that would only be unlocked by me accepting this. But on the other hand, the number intrigues me because that is a number of perfection. And so God could also be ministering to you. Yes, you have your plans. Yes, you want to just be one and done, but be open to what I want to do through your womb because I have a plan that is perfected already.
Yes. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Portia. And
where are you from?
I'm from Zimbabwe, and I came from all the way from Munich, but I had to be here, thank God. So my question is about calling. And I've dreamt a lot of times of myself ministering or around very prominent ministers. But 2 things. My YouTube is full of your sermons or your podcast. So sometimes I feel like maybe I just admire, Or the second thing is I'm very vocal. So in church setups, I always find myself doing something, and I worry that I might do things just because, I am talkative is the best word. But so how do I deal with that? And I see, I dream, I write my dreams, but at some point I was like, okay, and yeah.
Yeah, the fullness of who you are is not even always, you don't know who that person is. There are things God knows about you that will shock everyone in this room. If the Lord was to open the pages of the books concerning you, written in heaven, it will shock you how heaven sees you and where you are right now. And I mean, even with ministry, I was in business before ministry. I never really saw myself as a pastor. There were things God planted in me as a kid, where I would maybe minister to my dog as a kid. But I never saw myself as a pastor. But I was actively in business when the Lord revealed to me, or not even in the moment, he brought me through a process where he now revealed to me, I'm calling you to be raised up as a minister of the gospel. That was a shock to me, right? And so for you, when the Lord reveals, when he gives you an image, a picture of when you see yourself doing something in the dream, the Lord is actually showing you who he knows you to be. Now, for you, this version of you to become that version of you, it's going to require time in his presence. Because every purpose of God doesn't try to use us, right? Jesus, when he talked about the disciples, he says he called them to be with him, and then he sends them out.